Lerato Ndlovu stepped off the bus into the familiar dusty streets of Soweto. After 3 years studying abroad in Cape Town, she had finally returned home. The warm Johannesburg sun kissed her dark skin as she adjusted her colorful head wrap. The neighborhood had changed, but the essence remained the same: vibrant, resilient, alive with possibility. Throughout her time away, Lerato had clung to one constant: her relationship with Sibusiso Masilela. Though distance had tested them, their love had endured through lengthy video calls and heartfelt text messages. At least that's what she believed. Their communication had dwindled in recent months, but Lerato attributed it to Sibusiso's new job at the community center. Now that she was home, she planned to surprise him and rekindle their connection. "Aish, look at you," her childhood friend Tandy exclaimed, embracing her tightly. "Cape Town has been good to you, sister." Lerato laughed, her eyes bright with anticipation. "I can't wait to see Sibusiso, it's been too long." Tandy's smile faltered. "You haven't spoken to him recently." "He's been busy with work. I thought I'd surprise him," Lerato replied, missing the concern in her friend's expression. That evening, Lerato prepared meticulously, selecting a yellow dress that complemented her smooth complexion and arranging her braids in an elegant updo. She arrived at Sibusiso's apartment complex clutching a small gift, her heart racing with excitement. As she approached his door, laughter spilled from within. Sibusiso's deep, resonant chuckle mingled with a woman's melodious giggle. Lerato hesitated, her hand frozen mid-knock. Through the partially open window, she glimpsed Sibusiso with his arm wrapped around a woman she didn't recognize. The gift slipped from Lerato's fingers, landing with a soft thud on the welcome mat. She backed away slowly, tears blurring her vision as the truth crashed over her like a wave. The foundation of her world, the love she thought had weathered distance, crumbled beneath her feet. The following week passed in a haze of disbelief for Lerato. She ignored Sibusiso's calls, unable to confront the reality of his betrayal. Her mother noticed her withdrawn demeanor but knew better than to pry. Lerato had always processed her emotions privately. "The community charity club is hosting an event tonight," her mother mentioned casually over breakfast, sliding a flyer across the table. "Your cousin Zainal is performing. It might do you good to get out." Lerato traced the colorful lettering on the flyer. The charity club had been her and Sibusiso's special place where they'd met as teenagers, volunteering during school holidays. The thought of returning stirred conflicting emotions, but supporting Zainal took precedence over her heartache. The community hall buzzed with energy when Lerato arrived that evening, her cousin's voice soaring through the space as she performed a traditional song. Lerato found comfort in the familiar faces and rhythms of home, allowing herself to be swept up in the celebration. Then she saw him. Sibusiso stood across the room, his tall frame distinctive among the crowd. His eyes widened in recognition and surprise. Beside him stood the woman from his apartment, petite with an elegant bearing, her hand comfortably entwined with his. Lerato's heart constricted painfully. She turned away abruptly, weaving through the crowd toward the refreshment table. Her hands trembled as she poured herself water, spilling drops onto her blue dress. "Lerato," his deep voice came from behind. "You're back, why didn't you tell me?" She faced him with feigned composure, though her voice betrayed her. "I wanted to surprise you, looks like I was the one surprised instead." Confusion crossed his features. "What do you mean?" "I came to your apartment last week," she replied, her tone brittle. "I saw you with her." Understanding dawned in his eyes, but before he could respond, Lerato's cousin called her name from across the room. "I have to go," she said, brushing past him, leaving Sibusiso standing alone with unspoken words hanging between them. The charity event continued into the evening, with Lerato skillfully avoiding Sibusiso at every turn. She immersed herself in conversations with old friends and family members, though her mind remained fixated on his presence. Each time she sensed him approaching, she found another corner of the hall to occupy. Sibusiso watched her from afar, his brow furrowed with concern. The woman beside him, Thembeka, noticed his distraction. "Is everything okay?" she asked, following his gaze to where Lerato stood laughing with a group of elderly women, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. "That's Lerato," he explained. "We need to talk to her." Thembeka nodded in understanding. "Go, I'll wait here." Seizing a moment when Lerato stepped outside for fresh air, Sibusiso followed. The night air was cool against their skin as crickets chirped in the darkness. "You can't avoid me all night," he said softly, approaching her on the community center's porch. Lerato stiffened but didn't turn around. "I'm not avoiding you, I'm simply not interested in what you have to say." "I never meant to hurt you," Sibusiso began, moving to stand beside her. "Things changed while you were gone." "Clearly," she replied, her voice sharp with pain. "You couldn't even respect me enough to tell me." "I tried, Lerato. I called so many times, but you were always busy with your studies. Then your calls became less frequent too." "So this is my fault," she challenged, finally meeting his gaze. Her eyes glistened with unshed tears. "No," he sighed heavily, "but we drifted apart. You must have felt it too." Inside, the music swelled as dancers took to the floor. The sound of celebration formed a stark contrast to the tension between them. "You should have told me," Lerato whispered, her composure finally cracking. "You let me believe we were still together. You let me come home thinking." She broke off, unable to continue. "I'm sorry." Sibusiso reached for her hand, but she pulled away. "Enjoy your evening, Sibusiso," she said firmly, gathering her dignity around her like armor. "I wish you well with your new girlfriend." Before he could respond, she walked back inside, leaving him alone with the weight of her words. The following day, Lerato threw herself into unpacking her belongings, desperate for distraction. Each item summoned memories of her time with Sibusiso, a concert ticket stub, a weathered love note, photographs capturing moments of joy. She placed them all in a box, not quite ready to discard these fragments of her past. A persistent knocking at the front door interrupted her thoughts. Assuming it was Tandy coming to check on her, Lerato called out, "It's open." Instead, Thembeka, Sibusiso's new girlfriend, entered hesitantly, clutching her purse with nervous energy. "I hope you don't mind me coming," she said. "Sibusiso doesn't know I'm here." Lerato stood frozen, unsure how to respond to this unexpected visitor. "Why are you here?" "Because there's something you should know," Thembeka explained, her expression earnest. "I'm not Sibusiso's girlfriend, I'm his cousin." Confusion washed over Lerato. "His cousin, but I saw you together at his apartment and last night." "I moved to Johannesburg 3 months ago for work," Thembeka clarified. "Sibusiso offered his spare room until I found my own place. We've been spending time together because we're family, not because we're dating." Lerato sank onto her bed, processing this revelation. But he never mentioned you in our calls. He tried, Thembeka insisted gently. He showed me all the messages he sent telling you about me moving in. He was worried about how it might look. Lerato recalled the unread messages she'd ignored during final exams, the calls she'd promised to return but never did. Had she misinterpreted everything? He's been miserable thinking you've moved on, Thembeka continued. He even organized a welcome home party for you next week. The whole charity club is involved. Shame and regret washed over Lerato as she realized her hasty judgment. The pain in Sibusiso's eyes last night hadn't been guilt, it had been hurt at her assumptions. "I've made a terrible mistake," she whispered. Thembeka smiled kindly. "He's at the community garden now, you should talk to him." The community garden basked in afternoon sunlight as Lerato approached. Nestled between apartment buildings, it served as a green sanctuary amid urban concrete. She spotted Sibusiso immediately, kneeling among rows of vegetables, his strong hands working the soil with practiced care. For a moment, she simply watched him, the gentle giant who had captured her heart years ago. His dedication to nurturing growth extended beyond plants to the community and to her. How could she have doubted him so quickly? "Your cousin visited me today," Lerato said quietly, announcing her presence. Sibusiso looked up, surprise and hope flickering across his features. He stood slowly, wiping his hands on his jeans. Thembeka shouldn't have interfered. "I'm glad she did," Lerato replied, stepping closer. "I need to apologize, Sibusiso. I jumped to conclusions without giving you a chance to explain." The distance between them felt both vast and insignificant, 3 years of separation condensed into mere feet. "I should have been clearer," he acknowledged. "We both stopped communicating properly." A child ran past them, chasing a butterfly through the garden beds. They both smiled at the innocent interruption before Lerato continued. "I was scared," she admitted. "Coming home after so long, I feared everything would be different." "Some things are different," Sibusiso agreed, reaching tentatively for her hand. "But some things haven't changed at all." The warmth of his palm against hers felt like returning to solid ground after years at sea. Lerato interlaced their fingers, a silent acknowledgement of their enduring connection. "Can we start again?" she asked, "properly this time with better communication." Sibusiso's smile brightened his entire face. "I'd like that very much." As the setting sun cast long shadows across the garden, they sat together among the growing things, relearning each other's rhythms. They spoke of their time apart, of dreams deferred and new ones blossoming. Their conversation flowed easily, bridging the gap that distance and misunderstanding had created. Sometimes love requires a second chance, a moment of courage to clear misunderstandings and begin anew. For Lerato and Sibusiso, that moment had arrived in a community garden, surrounded by growth and possibility.